Okay students, now we are going to discuss about the next disease, that is malaria. Yes, malaria is a disease that mainly occur due to a parasite, that is Plasmodium. But itself, Plasmodium cannot be transferred from one organism to another organism. It means malaria is a disease of human beings. That is mainly human beings are infected by this type of parasites. But the question arises how this parasite will transfer into the human body. Yes, this Plasmodium, that is a parasite, it requires two hosts to complete its life cycle. One is the mosquito, that is female anopheles mosquito, and second is the human beings. So malaria, that is a disease which occur due to the parasite Plasmodium, and this Plasmodium is found in the four forms. That means these are the four different types of the Plasmodium. Plasmodium vivax, that cause a disease known as benign tertiary malaria. Plasmodium ovale, that will also cause the benign tertiary malaria, but it is mainly cause the disease in the persons of the West Africa and South America. Third is the Plasmodium malaria, that will cause a disease that is known as the quartan malaria, and this type of malaria is found in the tropical as well as temperate regions. And next is Plasmodium falciparum. This Plasmodium falciparum will cause three types of malaria. First is quotidian malaria, which attacks daily, that means fever will take place daily, and malignant tertiary malaria, which recurs after every 48 hours. That means quotidian malaria, that will takes fever will attack daily basis, but in the malignant tertiary malaria, fever will occur after the 48 hours, repeated 48 hours. It can be severe and fatal also. And third is irregular malaria, whose time period is not fixed, that how many time it will take to repeat its fever. So what are the main symptoms? Yes, question arises. What are the main symptoms of the malaria? Yes, tiredness, headache, muscular pain, chills. Yes, chills, shivering, nausea, muscular pain, and high fever. I have to write fever. So these are the normal symptoms that is shown by the person that is affected by the malaria. Now we will discuss about the life history of the Plasmodium. Life history of the Plasmodium will take completed in two phases. One is asexual phase and second is sexual phase. Asexual phase, which will complete in the human beings, while as sexually reproductive phase will complete in the female anopheles mosquito. So how the life cycle will be takes place? Life cycle of the Plasmodium will complete in the three phases. First is the schizogamy, second is gamogony, and third is sporogony. That means these are the main phases of the life cycle of the Plasmodium. So first, schizogony, where asexual multiplication of the sporozoites will take place in the man. Yes, I have clearly mentioned asexual multiplication takes place in man, that is known as the schizogamy. Next is gamogony, where gamete formation will take place. Yes, the formation of gametes that will start in the man. So the process of formation of gametes is also a sexual phase, but fertilization will not take place in the man. Fertilization will take place in the mosquitoes. So third is sporogony, where asexual reproduction or multiplication will take place in the mosquito in the form of sporozoites. So further, this schizogony with asexual multiplication in the man will take place in the two phase. That means whenever this parasite will enter into the human body, so it will pass into two phases. First, it will complete exoerythrocytic phase. That means either it will remains outside of the RBC or red blood cells, or it will remains inside the RBCs. So if it is multiplying outside the RBCs, that is known as the exoerythrocytic phase. That means if it is not in the RBCs, then where it is multiply, yes, in the liver cells of the men. It will multiply asexually in the cells of liver. Erythrocytic phase, as indicated, when after the multiplication in the liver, it will migrate to the blood, and in the blood it will enter inside the RBCs, and that phase is known as the erythrocytic phase. After that, in the gamogony, it will complete the two steps. One is gametogenesis, that means formation of the gametes, and second is fertilization. Gametogenesis will take place in the man or humans, or fertilization will take place in the mosquito. Third stage is the sporogony, where asexual multiplication will take place, and this phase will take place in the mosquito, because here asexual multiplications will be takes place, and that leads to formation of the sporozoites, and these sporozoites will again enter into the human being. How? With the help of female anopheles mosquito. Why? Because female anopheles mosquito, whenever try to bite an infected person, the infected person will be suffering from the malaria. At that time, it will take out the sporozoites and from the salivary gland, or we can say it can take out the sporozoites from the humans and then transfer these into the another normal or healthy persons. So here mosquito act as a vector that will transfer the plasmodium from one human to another human. It means this plasmodium itself cannot be transferred from one person to other person. It needs the vector. So it also keep in mind that human, the phase asexual production will take place in the humans, but after that, for the completion of the sexual phase, these require the mosquito. That means if there is no female anopheles mosquito at the site where the plasmodium will be found, that they do not complete its life cycle and malaria will not take place. Thank you, Vita. Okay, students, now we will discuss about the life cycle of the plasmodium, as it will require two hosts. One is the human beings and second is the mosquito. So we will discuss with the help of diagram. So if any person is infected with the malaria, at that time female anopheles mosquito goes and then suck the sporozoites. Yes, these are the sporozoites. This part is a half part of the that will shows the mosquito, and this part will show the human beings, that how the plasmodium will complete its life cycle in both the hosts. So free sporozoites from the mosquito is released from the mature oocytes. So mature oocytes in the salivary gland of the mosquito will burst and release the sporozoites. Those sporozoites will enter into the human body and then into the blood, and with the help of blood these sporozoites will reach to the liver, and where in the liver cells they will invade in the liver cells and then starts to multiply asexually. So these are not inside the RBC, that is why this phase is known as the exoerythrocytic. So from the blood, from the mosquito, these sporozoites enter into the blood, then through the blood they will goes to the liver and enter into the liver cells. They will multiply. At that time they are known as zygont. I have mentioned releasing the form of sporozoites from the mosquito, but when they will multiply inside the liver cells, they are known as the zygons, and phase is exoerythrocytic. After the multiplication, the liver cell will also burst and they will release the merozoites. That means the infected form of the plasmodium that is released from the cells of the liver is known as the merozoites. These merozoites then try to infect the other RBCs. That means these are trying to invading the red blood corpuscles. So this phase will start the erythrocytic phase, because now they are going to be enter into the RBCs and then multiply inside them. So these RBCs will invade and these merozoites invade the RBC. After that they will make a signet ring stage by multiplying themselves. After that irregular structure will develop inside the RBC because they will multiplying continuously. That stage is known as the amoeboid stage. After that, they will multiplying, and what the process will takes place inside the RBC. As you know, RBC have a pigment, red pigment, that is known as the hemoglobin, respiratory pigment, and that hemoglobin is breakdown with the help of these with the help of these signet stages, or we can say with the help of these trophozoites. So clearly mentioned, when they are released from the mosquito known as sporozoites, multiplying inside the liver cells cyzones, released from the liver cells known as merozoites, but enter inside the RBCs and multiplying over there, that is known as the trophozoites. So what these trophozoites, they will break down the hemoglobin and release the hemozoin chemicals, and that hemozoin will cause and develop the symptoms of the malaria. Yes, like the high fever and chills. These are only symptoms which will develop due by the production of the hemozoin. It means when hemozoin production will start, then only fever will be there and chills will be there. Before that, the body will not show any type of symptoms. But if body start to show this type of symptom, that means now it is going to be multiplying the RBCs and number is going to be increased. So this erythrocytic phase in the RBCs will take place the 48 hours. After that, these RBCs also burst and then release the gonocytes. Gonocytes, yes, gametogenesis process. I have told you asexual reproduction takes place, schizogony, that takes place in the human beings. But gonogony is also start in the human being. That means in some of the RBCs, these trophozoites will make the gametes, male gonocytes or the female gonocytes. And when these RBCs will be ruptured, these male and female gonocytes will be released into the blood. So whenever any mosquito will come and try to bite the human beings, at that time they will suck these male and female gonocytes, and after that, now human phase is covered, now mosquito phase will start, because these trophozoites or that have changed now into male and female gonocytes. These male and female gonocytes now enter into the mosquito, yes, in the stomach of mosquito, where these male and female gonocytes will fertilize inside the stomach. Yes, I have shown this diagram, and then develop into the zygote. Then this zygote will develop into the oocyst, and that oocyst undergo the developing stages and change into the mature oocyst. So this is the sexual phase of the malaria, and this phase that will take place in the human, in the mosquito, to make the sporozoites is known as the sporogony. As I have told you, there are three main phases: schizogony, gonogony, and the sporogony. Schizogony mainly takes place in the human beings, okay, where schizont will form and develop. Then gonogony, where after the schizont, male and female gonocytes will be developed. That will also start in the human beings. After that, male and female gonocyte is sucked by the mosquito. Then sporogony will start, because after the fertilization, sporozoites will be developed, and the development of the sporozoites in the mosquito is known as the sporogony. These sporozoites now reach, these sporozoites are reached into the salivary gland of the mosquito. So whenever that mosquito, female Anopheles mosquito, having the sporozoites and bite any other healthy persons, they will transfer these sporozoites again into the humans. So it means one host is not, if it is present in only one host and second host is not available, that means they can't complete their life cycle. So for the completion, both the host will be required. So this is all about the malaria. Thank you.